Hi everybody, it's Dan and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making another Sailor Moon inspired cake, and this time we're going to be doing the Sailor Starlights. So first up, we're going to do Sailor Star Healer. We're going to take my moist and fluffy melt in your mouth chocolate cake recipe wrapped in a creamy, dreamy and light vanilla buttercream with some simple fondant decorations, and capture all things Sailor Star Healer in one delicious cake. I'll be sure to throw a link to the recipe down below in the description, where I'll list all the tools you'll need, all the ingredients, and all my tips and tricks so you could bake your own Sailor Moon inspired cake with confidence. And stay tuned at the end of the video for more information about the KitchenAid stand mixer giveaway. Plus, if you're new in my kitchen, don't forget to click subscribe down below and turn on notifications so you don't miss out every time I post a new video. Now let's go ahead, preheat our oven to 350 degrees and get started on this delicious chocolate cake. First step is going to be to grab a mixing bowl and add in 3 cups of flour, a half cup of cocoa powder, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 2/3 cups of white granulated sugar. Then we'll just go in with a hand whisk and really just whisk all these dry ingredients together until they are nice and combined. Once your dry ingredients are all whisked together, scoot those to the side, grab yourself another mixing bowl, and begin adding in your wet ingredients. So first up, let's add in a half cup of sour cream, 1 cup buttermilk at room temperature, 3 large eggs at room temperature, 1½ cups of fresh brewed coffee, 3/4 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Now let's just blend those together with our hand mixer, or you can use your hand whisk until all these ingredients are fully incorporated together. Now with our wet ingredients all blended together, let's add those right into the dry ingredients and whisk them to combine. If you're using a hand mixer, mix these on a nice low speed. If you're using your hand whisk, don't go too crazy or too, I gotta mix this up. Just a nice gentle whisk until your cake batter is just combined. Then we'll just add the batter evenly into our prepared cake pans, pop them in the oven, and let them bake for a good 40 minutes, or until your cake tester comes out clean. So our cakes have baked, they've cooled, I've leveled and halved. Now it's time to fill with some delicious, never too sweet, and oh so dreamy vanilla buttercream. Now you can fill your Sailor Moon cakes with just about anything you'd like. If you're just adding a layer of buttercream between your cake layers, your frosting can have a thinner consistency and hold together just fine. I tend to add about a half cup of frosting between my 6-inch cake layers and spread it into an even layer. You want to be sure it's nice and level. One of the keys to a cake that doesn't wobble is those nice even layers. Continue to add your next layers of cake. I like to use a cake lifter for thinner cake layers to make sure they don't break apart. Once your cakes are filled, it's going to be time to cover in even more vanilla buttercream. Once you've stacked and filled all your cake layers, your cake should look something just like mine here. You'll notice there's a fair amount of frosting hanging over the sides. I use this frosting to spread around the outside and top of my cake to create the crumb coat. The crumb coat is a thin layer of frosting on the outside of a cake that holds in the crumbs so they won't mix into your final layer of frosting. You can always add frosting to the cake for the crumb coat, but I find that having the frosting in the filling layers already spread out to the edges actually helps eliminate any potential air bubbles, which can get caught in the frosting and work their way out, giving your cake a very unlovely, kind of pimply look. Once you have your crumb coat, you are ready to frost your cake. If needed though, you can always refrigerate your cake prior to frosting it. Once your cakes have been filled and stacked with that vanilla buttercream, you're ready to cover with even more delicious frosting. So to get started from here, you'll want your piping bag filled with buttercream. Starting from the bottom of your cake, pipe your buttercream around the edge, trying to keep even pressure on the bag so that the layer of frosting is even. You will have multiple layers of piped buttercream here, depending on the height of your cake. The top layer needs to stick above the edge of the cake though. This will be important later for smoothing the top edges corners of your cake. When you're done applying the icing to the sides of the cake, it's time to smooth it over. This is where the icing smoother comes in. Place it against the side of your cake. You want to hold it straight up and down, as straight as possible. Hold your icing smoother in the same place and use your other hand to turn the cake turntable. Continue to turn the turntable, scraping the icing off the smoother occasionally so that there isn't too much buildup. I clean off my smoother regularly, and when I scrape the excess buttercream off of it, I usually also wipe it with a paper towel so that there isn't anything left on there that will mess up the buttercream once I place it back on the side of the cake. To do the edges, you can use the icing smoother or an offset spatula. The spatula should be about a 45-degree angle. Pull the icing in towards the middle of the cake, making the corner level with the top of the cake. After you have that nice smooth coating of buttercream around your cake, it's time to finally start decorating with some simple fondant decoration. I prefer to roll out my fondant on a silicone mat, ever so lightly dusted with powdered sugar so it doesn't stick to my surface. You'll need to roll out 2-inch tall strips, about 16 inches long. Once that first strip of black fondant is nicely hugging the bottom of your cake, we're going to twirl it around, cut off the excess, and close up our fondant seam. After you have that first black fondant strip on the bottom of your cake, we're going to grab a yellow fondant triangle, lightly brushed with water on the back, and place that inverted on top of that black fondant collar on the bottom of our cake. Now, still using your yellow fondant, we're going to work on some more simple decorations. So let's take 2 strips of yellow fondant, about 3 inches long and 1/4 inch wide, and crisscross them in the front of our cake. Once you have those nice and centered in the front of your cake, we're going to go ahead and wrap the top of our cake with our second black fondant strip. And what I did here for our top collar is I angled the ends so when you bring them together, they form this nice little peekaboo triangle, so our yellow fondant X shows through. Lastly, we're going to take some tiny yellow fondant balls, lightly brushed with water on the back, and place those on our crisscross yellow fondant, so it has this sort of divot effect. Now we're going to roll some white fondant out on a lightly dusted silicone mat, and using a wing template, which is in that recipe link below, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our X-Acto knife and we're going to cut out 2 wings from our white fondant. Then we'll just go ahead, peel away the excess, and set that aside and store for another cake. Once you have your white fondant wings, go ahead, flip them over, lightly brush with a little more water, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna place those right on our cake. So we're gonna place those right in the front, so they're lined up with our yellow fondant triangle on the bottom and our yellow crisscross fondant lines on top. Once you have those nice and centered on your cake, roll out a little more yellow fondant, and this is going to be for our star brooch that all the Sailor Starlights wear. So to get this, we're going to use a star-shaped cookie cutter and cut out about a medium-sized star. Then using the excess fondant that we pulled away, we're going to go ahead and we're going to punch out a triangle. Then we're going to use a little bit of water on the back and combine that with the star that we just cut out from our yellow fondant. Once your yellow star fondant decoration has dried together, we're going to go ahead, brush that whole back lightly with water. This way it doesn't, fall off the cake. And then we're just going to center that right in the middle of our white fondant wings. And that's going to wrap up our simple fondant decorations. All we have left to do now is to make our white chocolate stars. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some melted yellow candy melts and pipe that into a 3D star mold. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fill each star mold all the way to the top. Then with using a small offset spatula or a knife or a spoon, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna level those melted candy melts so that they fill the entire star mold. Then we're just gonna pop those in the fridge and let harden and set for a quick 5 to 10 minutes. Once those have fully set and hardened up, all you gotta do now is just pop them out of your star silicone mold. So you'll be left with these cute little yellow chocolate stars that are gonna sit right on top of our cake. Now that we have our yellow chocolate stars, let's go ahead and grab some yellow buttercream in a piping bag fitted with about a large star tip. But if you have other favorite tips, you can go ahead and use those also. Either way, we're gonna take our yellow buttercream and we're gonna pipe on dollops of that buttercream around the top of our cake. When you're all happy with the buttercream on top of your cake, you wanna go ahead and you wanna give each dollop of buttercream a yellow chocolate star. When you're all done decorating with your yellow chocolate stars, that's it, you're done. You've made a Sailor Star Healer chocolate cake that looks almost too good to eat and captures all things Sailor Star Healer from the Sailor Star Lights, from Sailor Moon Season 5. It was a great season and this is a great, delicious chocolate cake. Well, thank you all for stopping by. I had so much fun showing you all how to make your own Sailor Moon inspired cake. If you're a fan of chocolate cake, simple fondant decorations, or all things Sailor Moon, definitely give this video a like. It really helps me out, lets me know I'm baking up recipes you all like, you enjoy, and you want to see more of. And if you want even more delicious recipes that are simple, that are quick, that you can bake with confidence every single time, definitely be sure to subscribe down below and turn on notifications so you don't miss out every time I post a new video. And don't forget, I'm still giving away 19 KitchenAid stand mixers. So if you haven't already, be sure to enter down below with the link. Once you enter the giveaway, you'll have 19 chances to win and lots of ways to enter. Lastly, if you make your own Sailor Moon inspired cake or your own Sailor Moon delicious dessert, definitely give a tag on Instagram. You know, let me see what you're baking up in your kitchen. Alrighty, where I'm gonna go, I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee, grab a slice of this cake, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. I hope you all get to do the same. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video very soon. Bye.